Hey everyone, this is Karen Waxman, founder of Retail MBA. Today we're going to be talking about selling to Claire's. So if you have a great product, perfect for Claire's, this training will give you some things to think about in regards to selling to them. With that said, let's get started on today's training.
Claire's is a jewelry and accessory store. You've probably seen them at airports and throughout the country at malls. They have over 2,300 stores they're responsible for. Getting an order from Claire's is like winning the lottery. If it actually converts, you'll make millions of dollars. It's a very big deal for the jewelry and accessory industry. There's not a lot of retailers that are hyper focused on that market that's been able to succeed. And it is definitely a retailer to consider if you have a product that fits in their stores. They have a young audience. They have a lot of little products in there. Their pricing is phenomenal, a lot of discounted products. And so you need to make sure that you can afford to work with a retailer like Claire's because they can make most of the stuff themselves because jewelry is actually very easy to make compared to other types of products. So you got to come in with either really, really interesting fashion or really amazing price that they can't handle, or your manufacturing is so spot on that there's some reason why they want to work with you versus somebody else. It's incredibly competitive and it's something to consider, but some of you will know that that is the right opportunity for you. You cannot go in with high priced items to that store without them not being able to work with you. So you need to walk their stores and see if your pricing makes sense for them. Again, it's not something that they're going to adjust for you. They've had the same similar concept for years. When I first got started in the business of selling at chain stores, I used to sell to Claire's and other jewelry and accessory companies because that was where I got started with fashion, jewelry, gifts, all sorts of different things. I moved on from there, but that was back in New York. And so we did sell to Claire, and it was a very complicated business because, again, everybody wanted to sell to them. Very, very cheap products, lots of volume, had to be really, really interesting for them to pay attention to you. So you're not dealing with the little guys here. So that's something to consider. There's a few things that you can think about that'll help you possibly get a change order, and I just want to give you some ideas with Claire's. First of all, they own 190 Icing stores currently. So Icing is another retailer that they own. If you have a really interesting product, one thing you could do is try to go after Claire's. If Claire's isn't budging, maybe go to Icing. They have different buyers, and you can reach out to them and try to become a vendor for them. If you become a vendor for Icing, you can basically get set up in their system as a vendor. If that happens, then they typically give you something called a vendor number, which is a number that essentially enables you to be able to be processed through their system. There's a lot of forms you got to fill out, and you essentially become a vendor of record in their system. The reason I mention this is because when Claire's owns another retailer, and just like any conglomerate of retailers that own multiple brands at the same time, they usually own the same software system for vendors. So what that means is if you become an Icing vendor, you could conceivably go back to Claire's, let them know I'm in your system already and I'd love to work with you. The reason that's interesting to Claire's is because sometimes they don't want to put you in as a vendor because it takes a lot of time for the buyer to fill out paperwork. And that's really annoying to the buyer because she's busy and or she's not certain whether or not your product will convert. And so in this case, you could conceivably go back to Claire's and say, I did all the work for you. So you barely have to do anything except test our product out. And that could work really nicely. And a lot of your competitors might not be thinking about Icing stores. Obviously, you have to do your due diligence to make sure that your product is making sense for Icing and or Claire's, but that's something to consider. Another thing to note is that they have 300 franchises in the Middle East and South Africa. And the reason I mention that is because they have the ability to buy stuff in other countries. Usually when the retailer is overseas, what you could do is try to sell to those different countries because every single country has different buyers usually, separate from the United States. So wherever they are, there's in every country, there's usually a buyer team in one location. So if you're not getting anywhere with Claire's United States, you might want to explore selling to Claire's in another country and then going back to Claire's corporate in the United States and saying, hey, I'm already selling to you in another country. People do that with Best Buy and Best Buy Canada all the time, which is an example. Best Buy is sometimes hard to sell to, but maybe if you can get Best Buy Canada to pick the product up, then you can go back to Best Buy and let them know that you're in one of their locations anyways, and so they should consider working with you. Same thing for Claire's. The final thing with Claire's is you're going to probably deal with private label most of the time. Private label means that you're going to sell to them under their brand name, meaning the packaging is going to be Claire's. It's not going to be you. And so you need to make sure that you understand that, because you're not going to have your name all over the branding and so forth. And if you're okay with that, then Claire's could be a great opportunity for you. The way that works is you sell to them, and if they like your product, they will have you go get the packaging from them with all the design and everything, and then you literally package it under their packaging, and it's not your packaging at all. And so that's how they do it for private label. So that's something to think about. A lot of times you're not going to have your name on any of this, but you can make a fortune selling to a Claire's or similar retailers who do private label, because they tend to buy a lot of quantity if it's under their brand name, and that's something to consider. Anyways, these are just some quick tips and things to think about in regards to selling to Claire's. If you want to learn how to approach, pitch, and sell to retailers, we help people get into retail chains. You can take a look at our website. The link is listed below, or you can go to retailmba.com. Otherwise, thank you for your time. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. We appreciate you, and be on the lookout for the next video we create. Thanks so much. Karen Waksman, Retail MBA.